Hello there, beautiful people, seekers of some version of the truth, some version of reality, might relate to metaphysical in nature. Um, Happy new moon. It's the 1st of November today, and this is the day of All Saints' Day, and the Day of the Dead is coming up with Halloween all around us, and so the very old school Christian and even non-Christian world will have a tendency to focus on that which is in some ways gone, dead, but a lot of other ways the metaphysical world, sometimes the darker side of it. That's what is promoted a lot, what we see and what we see reflected in our witchy Halloween culture. But what is celebrated in a way, and what is experienced by many people because of that celebration, is that there is a thinning of the veil of consciousness. So between what is the material physical world and the world of physical matter, and the non-physical world, that maybe the place or the consciousness that is experienced beyond this life, before, after, whatever you want to call it, but is fundamentally what we know as a metaphysical or occult truth. We normally see this as the darker side of life because it's hidden. It's occult in nature, and it's hidden because we haven't trained ourselves, taught ourselves, or because most of the time we don't believe in it. And we believe in it when we see a horror movie and it scares us, and in that moment we might feel that something abnormal, something metaphysical is possible, can happen. But just the collective conscious all focusing on what might be occult, or what might be related to the afterlife in some way or another, makes this veil thin, means that there is a more focus on connection than judgment of disconnection, which is the default. Like, there's no such thing in ghosts, in the dead, whatever. And so with more of a collective energy focused on that connection, it becomes easier for people to have experiences related to their non-physical self, our non-physical consciousness. And this can be dark or light or beautiful. It doesn't have to be one way or the other. It's not, but the veil of or the mask or the wall between the belief in the non-material world and the simple, normal, natural belief that everything is physical in nature is thinner, or is easier to doubt and easier to cross, and so experiences become more common. I've got a 3-card reading which I'm going to show you, and it's a little bit about the growth of consciousness maybe that we might lack in our lives in some way. But here the first card speaks about our self-worth, because this is the 5 of Pentacles, where the beggar's there, or the handicapped lepers on some level, and poverty on a material level, like very, this is a cripple and somebody who has a bell around their neck, that in the olden days this would be a bell of leprosy. This shows, or this is reflective of our self-worth. This is it seems to be a stained glass window of a church that they're walking by in the snow, that they don't deserve to go in. And this is why it's the poor person's mentality. It is the unworthiness that we will all experience in some time in our lives, and we all experience on one level at every moment in our lives. Now, this isn't a poverty that we all own up to. This is not a poor me that that will be obvious in every person, but I do believe that everybody experiences it, even though some people have got really good at masking it, or of not owning that unworthiness, even though that they may subconsciously feel it, subconsciously experience it, and it will affect sometimes in ways that we try to overcompensate with promoting confident promoting habits. And arrogance is one of those stories, or a bloated self-confidence is something that can come out when people are really denying their own unworthiness. There are two other cards that came up hand in hand with this, so get these cards. This is the World reversed, and the Devil card came up. So really quite strong, powerful with these two major arcana cards. The World being, one of the last initiation into our greater consciousness, and being upside down, it represents. I was looking at this card, and wow, these three cards, and just feeling how we are very convinced in the materiality of ourselves. We very much believe in this body, and that this is me, and that this is the only version of me. We may have danced around with some spiritual ideas that have told us that we are, higher beings with higher consciousness, that we are light, we are God, we have the oneness and the connection to the source inside of us. And I even spout those things myself. But on a day-to-day basis, we find ourselves trusting and believing in the senses. We got the bells of the church going on here. So in a place where they'll celebrate the Day of the Dead and All Saints Day in a stronger way. Hope it doesn't take away from this video, but maybe it's all necessary. So here we are, with the world at our fingertips, but we're not embracing it. And a lot of the time we don't embrace our fuller potential, primarily because of ways in which we have been taught and practices that we continue to hold on to, that keep us convinced and very much tied down to a lower way of believing in ourselves, a lower way of believing in life, and looking at life and looking at ourselves. And really, this is the foundation of unworthiness. The foundation of unworthiness is when we don't believe in our higher self. That's the beginning. We don't believe that we are, that we have the potential of light, of Jesus, of Buddha, of God, of Allah, and on all of the saints and the sacred people that have come in the past. We don't believe that we can touch the source. We don't. When I say that we don't believe in it, we might think we can, but we don't experience it. We might have read a book and it feels true. We might have adopted those beliefs. Yes, I can. Yeah, I've had a psychedelic experience. Great. Yes, I can touch this, and this is great. But we fall back to the ideas that we can't. We fall back to the ideas that we are trapped in this body, that this body is me, that I am separate from oneness. I'm separate from everything around me. And in doing so, we build that veil. That veil becomes stronger. We don't see the connection between ourselves and other people, ourselves and nature, ourselves and everything that we create. We don't see the subtle energy that causes the karmic law of attraction to be in existence, perfectly calling in each and every experience at the right place, at the right time, for specific energetic and vibrational causal meaning. We don't see that, and we're not trained to look at it because we are focused on keeping ourselves tied to one version of worthiness, one version of how we can be worthy in our lives. And this is great for some people who are good at those material manifestation stories, and And it's not so great for those people who feel a little bit disconnected from their ability to tap into uh, all sorts of formal ways of creating material wealth, creating material health, creating material opportunities, creating anything material. Maybe somebody's greatest gifts and consequently their self-worth is in their silence and in their passivity, or in their simple kindness, or in their ability to love unconditionally, or in their ability not to judge the world. And in this, and yet we don't value those gifts. We don't value many stories that are beautiful expressions of self-worth, because they don't relate to earning more money, or they don't relate to getting things done. They don't relate to building something and making physical things exist better. They just relate to maybe love, or they might relate to happiness. Oh, I love this. These bells are in the distance. If it's annoying you, I do apologize. But yeah, this is part of the calling in of the invisible world. And this is a little bit what this reading is talking to us about. It's about saying, hey, we're here to embrace and own our unworthiness, own this story, own how in the many ways that we might feel attached to believing in our physicality. And it's not wrong thing to believe in our physicality, but it's going to be unbalanced, and it's going to make us feel lower and experience and attract lower vibrational manifestations in our life if we just focus on it. We can't deny it, because whatever this physical world is reflecting back to us is a reflection of many ideas and many beliefs. So it's not about denying the physical world and just thinking that we need to float up and be in the angels. And why am I here in this physical world? No, we chose to limit our consciousness. We chose to limit our consciousness so that we could experience the limitation and the chains. We chose to chain ourselves to this lower vibrational consciousness. And we chose to realize that those chains don't need breaking. There's nothing to break there, but they do need lifting off. But in order to do that, we've got to want to. We've got to want to lift off a chain. With both fundamentally, but first of all, we have to admit that we're chained. And then we have to desire to lift them off. And there's a certain fear that comes with that desire, because that desire will come hand in hand with leaving a certain sense of security that might feel constant and might feel safe in some way. And we're going to have to leave that certain sense of safety in order to grab, in order to hold on to a more liberating version of free mind and free awareness, and that free awareness that can hopefully turn this around and allow us to grasp the fullness of our four-part God tetragrammaton self of consciousness, where we have this higher awareness that we're all able to tap into, that we're all able to touch. But in order to do so, and maybe this is a great time to do so when the veil is thin, in order to do so, we have to own our unworthiness, own the part of us that feels like, oh, I can't, I would like to have more money, but that's not for me, because, and there might be many fears around that. Oh, I'd like to be really healthy, but the doctor says I couldn't because I've got this going on, that going on, because my parents were like this and I've inherited these stories. We love to believe in stories that will limit our experience. Oh, I'd love to attract those experiences, but I'm destined to follow this route because this is the route that was cut out for me, and yeah, I only deserve that. And whether we consciously know what those beliefs are that are holding us in a lower vibration of deserving, a lower vibration of what we think we are, what we think we are able to attract, earn, experience. Those beliefs need to be not necessarily confronted, but definitely seen. That's the darkness, that's the hidden, that's part of our shadow that keep us mundanified. And there's nothing wrong with this world, there's nothing wrong with the lower vibrations, but if the lower vibrations and our higher vibrations aren't connected, then we will find ourselves stuck and depressed in lower vibrations. And we have experienced this. We all have experienced some version of this lower vibration addiction, and the depression that comes from it, and the sadness that comes from it, and the fears that are born from those attachments. So let's take another red pill of honesty and own our unworthiness, own the beliefs that attach us and that keep us focused on our fears, doubting our full potential, and limiting our experience of self, of consciousness that can be so expansive, so beautiful, so abundant on so many levels. Let's practice feeling our abundance. Let's practice feeling our worth in all of its shapes and sizes, not just the traditional ways that this world or our culture or life around us has told us that are the most important ways of worthiness, the most important reflections of truth. Let's focus on how we can really embody worthiness in a bigger way, in a higher way. Much love to you all this new moon. Have a great day.